Hi, this is Sara Levin, the Artful Linker of theartfulinker.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today I'm here to share this prized peony card with you. So let's set this aside and get creating. To start this card, I've got a piece of Stampin' Up's Fluid 100 watercolor paper, and my Coastal Cabana ink pad, and my silicone craft sheet. And I'm just going to smush on a little bit of ink, and then I've got my Stampin' Spritzer filled with water, and let's just spritz around on this and let it run a little bit. Okay, and then I want to spritz my watercolor paper as well, and then I'm just going to drag it through a little bit and let it pour around by tipping a little bit, and then come in with a piece of paper toweling to blot lightly. And now we'll set that aside to dry. So while it's drying, I'm going to go rinse my craft sheet. If this dries too humped for you, spritz the back of it lightly with water and it will release. And we'll be back for the next step. Next, we're going to do our stamping with the prized Peony stamp set. And I've got this little background image and my Memento ink pad. And the dots are small, and I just want to make sure that they are inked. And I'm just putting some little random bits of this around on here. No real rhyme or reason. And then we're just going to let that dry a moment. Let's set these things out of the way. Next, it's time to add our embossing paste, and I've got my silicone craft sheet again, and then I'm going to be using this dotted mask from the Basic Pattern masks. That also comes in sort of this feather pattern and this kind of Baroque medallion and these wonderful trees. So let's move this over here a moment and grab my embossing paste and a palette knife. And I just want to work on my craft sheet here. And I'm going to cover this back up. Embossing paste does dry out quickly. And place this over top. And I like to work with just a thin amount rather than making big, high bits of embossing paste. And I also like to put it on in a regular shape, so it's not a circle or a square. And so I'm just picking some areas and putting it on. I think it makes it more interesting to look at that way when it's not completely symmetrical. And then I'm going to come back and scrape this off. And you'll want to wash your mask and your palette knife immediately, or place it in a pan of water. So that now needs to dry. While that other piece is drying, we're going to work on our focal image. And I've got this piece of basic black and the large peony. And we're going to ink that up in Versamark. And I'm just checking to make sure that I've tapped it everywhere. And I want to give a rub all over. There's lots of tiny detail in this stamp. Okay, and then give it a sprinkle with white Stampin' Emboss powder. And give it a tap off. Okay. And shake this back in. And then I want to stamp one more piece of this. I'm mostly interested in the large flower, so I'm not inking up the whole stamp. And again, we're just going to give this a rub here. And sprinkle with the white Stampin' Emboss powder. And then I'm going to heat set these and use the coordinating peony dies to cut them out. But before I do, here's a quick tip. When you're embossing light on dark, if you heat from behind, you won't run the risk of blowing the light particles around and having as many little flecks of light color on your dark background that you don't want. Okay, so we have all of our pieces ready and it's time to assemble. I've got my 2 peony pieces here, and then I've got this piece of Coastal Cabana that I cut with this mini medallions die, and a layer of basic black, and then my card base. So I'm going to start by taking my adhesive sheet here, and let's just peel some of that back. This is the sticky side, and I'm going to lay my medallion piece on that and give that just a good all over rub so that it picks up the adhesive from the sheet. And let's peel that back, and we'll let it keep whichever dots it's hanging on to here. Oops. Let's press that again. Okay. There we go. Nice and sticky. And let's pick this end up as well and move this out of the way. We're going to pop this over here, and I'm just below center and then sticking this on. Okay, so next we're going to add the large medallion. I'm looking for medallion. Oh my goodness. We're going to use the large peony, and got to stick my dimensionals all over on this. And we've got one too many here in my hand. Okay, whoops. Sticky side up. That won't help either. Okay, let's pull those backing pieces off. And while this one is not ready to stick down, I do want to hold them together to make sure I'm going to end up with what I'm looking for. Okay, and then add these to the back. And where it's not overlapping this flower, I need to do a double stack. Okay, and then right down here. And I want to bring this cutoff edge right down to the bottom. Okay, let's move this out of the way. Forgot to pull off some of those backing pieces. That will help a whole lot in keeping this down. Okay, that's much better. Okay, let's turn this over. And I've got my Stampin' Seal. And I'm going to use it on the back. Let's just get it started. Because my piece has just a slight bit of buckle in it. And I do like the Stampin' Seal when that's the case, because I can get all the way out to those edges. Let's pull this little backing piece there, and I want to come back into that corner, and I'm going to give it, okay. Now let's take this piece of basic black, and I've got just a micro border going here. And then I want to give it a press all the way around. And let me get just a tiny bit of adhesive under this. I must not have picked up any of the adhesive sheet here on this end. So I'm going to hold that a second and let it dry. Move this out of the way. Okay. Let's scoop these off to the side so that we can see what's going on here. I've got a piece of Whisper White for the inside of my card, and I've got a narrow strip of the Coastal Cabana. Whoops. And let's line that up with my grid paper. And there we go. All right. And oops, those guys keep wanting to tag along. There we go. I find them all over my house, the little pieces of backing paper. Okay. There we go. Let's add this layer. And I'm going to use my black Stampin' Dimensionals. And I like these on the black because then I get the lift for my layer without the white dimensional showing between the black layer and the Coastal Cabana base. Okay. Let's make sure we're centered here. Give everybody a press down. And then I've got some of this sheer pool party ribbon, and I've got my take your pick tool, and I've already doubled over a piece here and added glue dots, and we'll do a couple more of these. The take your pick helps to, oops, push this in where I want it to go, and then leave it and the glue dot behind. So you're just going to take a small bit of ribbon that might be 2 inches, maybe a little less, and let's put a glue dot to hold the pieces together. This has such a lovely light shimmer to it. And we just want to tuck a couple of these pieces in, and we'll start by sticking it to the take your pick here. And kind of like you might do, that's too straight up and down. Let's try that again. Okay, there we go. And we'll add a couple more of these to just lighten it up a little bit. I like the bold black, and then this sheer ribbon gives a little lift and dimension so that you can see the two separate black flowers. And let's see, do we want to stick this in? I want these there but not, if that makes sense. Oops. It's twisting on me as I go in. And just that little bit of ribbon tucked in there brings this flower up a little bit. So that's our prized Peony card. Thanks for stopping by. This was Sara Levin, the Artful Inker. Give this video a thumbs up. Click the subscribe button and then ring the bell if you would like to receive notifications the next time I upload a video. Thanks for stopping by. Have a great day.